Hello and welcome to the fourth part of my VR multiplayer tutorial series. In this tutorial we will be creating the UI for the main menu and the lobby menu. To follow this tutorial I heavily recommend to first do the first three parts of this VR multiplayer tutorial series, because you will need the finished game instance, which includes all the functions to create sessions, accept invites. It stores the player list and the friend list, etc. So you will need those because we will be using the game instance in the UI a lot. And we can get right into it. As you can see, I already created a folder in the UI folder which is called lobby, and in here we will need some more folders for the player list and the friend list. And we can start with the player list right away. We are going to create a widget blueprint user widget and call it WG player list. And that's basically just a horizontal scroll view, or no, a horizontal box which will display all the profile pictures of the players which are currently in the lobby. For the size we will use desired, and then we will first put in a border in here. You can set the padding to 1 and the brush color to however you desire. I'll just make it a little bit darker. And in here we can then put a, let's first just put a vertical box for some layout, and then we can put a text into here which will just be the title, called players. And under that we can do a horizontal box also into the vertical box and call it HB player list and check that it's a variable. And that's basically everything we need for the design. We can just make the text a little bit smaller actually. I will not really care about styling this tutorial because most likely you will be styling your menus in the style you're going for in your game, and it does not really make sense to really style it in this project. And once we've got the player list, we will also need the widget for the player item, which will then be populated automatically into the player list once the player list changes. And for the player list we basically only need an image. We can put it into here, and then for the size 32 by 32 and desired obviously we can, yeah, that should fit, or let's just do 64 by 64, and then we can change that after if it does not really fit, and then create make it a variable as well and just call it EMG profile picture. You could as well display the player name here, and you would just have to create a text for that and first wrap this with something like a vertical box again, and then you could put a text block into here and just make it text name is variable. I will show you how to populate that in a second, but for this tutorial we will be only using the profile picture, which is why that will be enough, and then we can compile that. And for the code, because we will have a player object in here which will be the unique net ID. Once this profile player item will be created, the unique net ID of the actual player will be set in here, which is why we will make it instance editable and expose on spawn, which basically means when creating the widget we can just pass the the player ID into here. And that's that. And now we can just take the player ID, get Steam friend avatar, which is the profile picture, and we want to, you can just delete those, set the brush texture from texture, because the Steam friend avatar will return a texture. We can put that into here. We can hit match size, and we want to, here you can actually select the size of the avatar you want, and if you just hit match size, it actually does not matter what you put into here, because it will just rescale on the base of the actual size of the friend avatar. And if the get of the Steam friend avatar is successful, we want to set the brush texture, and that's basically it for the player item. And now we can go back into the list we have just created and go into the event graph as well. And on the pre-constructs, we want to get the game instance and cast to the game instance we have created in the last episode. Convert that to a pure cast, because we can actually be sure that this will be successful if the game instance is set right. And we want to get the player list, get players list. These are the players currently in the... No, that's actually wrong, sorry. We want to bind to on players list updated. Put that into here, and that just makes sure every time in the game instance the player list, let me show you real quick, gets updated, this event will be called. So every time this gets updated, we can call the event which this is bound to. Just update, call it update event. And in this event, we first want to take the horizontal box the players are displayed in and clear all children, because if it gets repopulated, we first want to clear to not just have players twice in the list. And we can actually promote this to a variable for easier use. Game instance. Put it into here, disconnect that, and put it in here. And we can do it like that, because now we can simply take the game instance, and now we want to get the players list, and we want to make a for each loop for the players list, because we want to cycle through every player in the list and create a new widget. And we want to create the player item widget, because as said, that's the widget which will be populated into the player list. And as you can see, because we have exposed it on spawn, we can now just pass through the unique net ID, which is saved in the player list. And then that's for the loop body. We can also get the player controller real quick, because the widget should be created for the owning player controller. And now we can take the horizontal box again and add child, and then just add in the widget we have just created. And that's basically it. We can now comment that, update player list for just a more clear blueprint. Construct, no, reconstruct, like that. And now we've got the player list, which will display all the players in the lobby. We can currently not test it, because we will still have to create the actual lobby menu, but that should work. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go back into lobby, and now we have friend list as well, and we can do, it's pretty much the same for that. Just get the widget blueprint created, get VG friend list item first, and we can, while we add it as well, just create the actual W friend list. Perfect. And we would start with the friend list item. And that item, friend list item contains a horizontal box first. And in this, or the size has to be desired again. And in this horizontal box, we want to have a text block, and that will be the player name. This variable txt underscore player name. And right next to the player name, we want a button, and the button should contain a text. Obviously, the text should say invite, because that's our in-game invite button, and the button has to be a variable as well. And we can just give it a padding on the left side, like 10. Let's do 20, just so it does not stay on top of each other so hard. And that's the UI basically. As said, the styling's not the best, but you can change that anytime you want. And now we want to again create a friend object, friend info object, and that will be of the type BP friend info now, because now it's a friend and not just a unique Steam ID. And on the construct, that should be exposed on spawn again, obviously. And now on construct, we want to take that get, and we want to break friend info, put it down here. We want to get the text player name, because that's the text which should be set text. And now you can choose multiple things here. You've got the presence info, the is playing same game boolean, unique net ID, you've got that also in here. But we want the display name, and we want to convert it to text. That will do it automatically. And once constructed, that should work. And now we will have to just hook up the invite logic. We will just get our game instance, because that's where we store the invite logic. Cast to GI again, because that's the game instance we have made. Convert to purecast, because it will most likely always work. And then we want to break the friend info again, because for the send invite function we will need a unique net ID, which is luckily saved in the friend object as well. And now for each of the players, or for each of your Steam friends, one of this widget will be created, and if you hit the invite button, that friend will be invited through Steam, which is what we want. Perfect. Okay, we can delete that, and we can construct. If you, for example, wanted to have the player image here as well, you could also get that by the Steam avatar from the unique net ID, and then populate it as well if you, for example, wanted to have the image in here as well, as said. But we don't want that for the tutorial, because it would get too long otherwise. That's the invite button. And that's that. Awesome. So now we want to go into the friend list, which will work a little bit differently from the lobby list, because in the friend list could technically be like 200 people, and so the widget does not overflow. We will be using the scroll box, and we can just, for that we can actually leave it as fill screen and just resize it on the on the widget we will be using it later. And I will just rename the scroll box to SB friend list box and rename make it a variable. Compile real quick and then take the graph again, and it's again the same as for the player list, but now it's the friend list. So on pre-construct we will get game instance and like that, cast to GI game instance, which again is the one we are using, and then bind to friend list updated and not player list updated, and then we can delete those again. Add a new custom event, call it update friend update event, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Like that, and yeah, I forgot again, we will have to use promote this to a variable just for easier use, so we don't have to cast every time we are using it. Let's disconnect it like that, make it like that, and now it's again similar logic. We want to clear children so we don't have multiple copies of the same friend, and after that we will be getting the game instance and get the friend list, get friends list, and for each loop, because again we want to cycle through each friend, and for the for each loop we want to create the widget, you have guessed it, the WG friend list item. Nice, and get player controller, again friend object, we've got that in here already, loop body, and we want to take the friends list scroll box and edit child, which will be this widget. Awesome. Okay, that should work as well. So we can just call it update function, and that will be construct again. Perfect. Okay, perfect. We can compile that one, and now that we have these two components ready, we can start by changing the main menu a little bit. First of all, we can delete the join session button because that will be obsolete. And then we want to change that to, say, create lobby. And we can go into the graph. It is already creating the session on click. I actually would recommend to do the same as in the friend list. I will have to rename that real quick. I would recommend to do that as well if you have mistyped as well or just copied my typo. Friend list. Perfect. Okay, now back to the main menu. Yeah, that's basically enough because we will not... Oh, yeah. We will have to delete that because that's the logic of the join button, which will not work anymore. So we just need that. Join button, create lobby button, my bad. And we can leave it as it is. And we should already be able to test if that works. We're currently in the main menu. Just started in the standalone version as the PC emulator, and create lobby. Takes a while, yeah, and now we are in the test lobby widget we have created in the last episode. Talking of that, we want to change that as well, obviously, because the lobby menu is where the magic happens. We can now delete that, and that's a little bit more complicated. Let's just get my notes up on the second monitor. We will be, first of all, we can actually just delete those two as well. And first of all, we will need a widget switcher. A widget switcher is basically just a tool you can switch widgets in, because we will have multiple buttons. In here, if you are the host, you will have the start game button and the leave button. If you're not the host, you will be having a little text saying waiting for host. And yeah, that's basically it. So we've got a mode for being the host and a mode for not being the host. If you hit here, go over here to the anchors and hit Control, Shift, and then click, it will line up instantly in the middle if you have not known that by now. We can now actually fill the widget switcher with I'll just say a vertical box, and that's the VB start session for the host is variable, and we can put a button in here, like so. Then select the text, put it into here, call it start, make the button or that, make that size to content. So we have the start button here now, and we want, let's just name it button start game, and we can just Control C, Control V, copy that, rename it button underscore leave, like so. Maybe give it, I don't know, 10 padding. Give them 10 padding as well. Like that. And we can switch the text in here to leave game. And let's just switch that to start game. And that's the view for the host. And we can now just, oh, my bad, we can just copy that, put it into the widget switcher, not into the other box. And we can call that VB waiting host, because that's for the non-host people. And we can just take that, basically put it into here, delete the start game, put it above that, I would say. Is it still in here? No, it's not. Put it above here, like so. Right, type into here, waiting for host, ... and obviously still have the leave game button. Oh, let's actually, give me a second, let's turn that to end or close session, because that's actually not the leave button, it's the end session button, because if the host leaves the session, everyone else should also be kicked out of the session, and that's the leave button for the players, because they will be able to just leave the game without ending it. And now that we've got that, we can minimize that again, the widget switcher, and that's basically everything happening in the center. I would recommend to call that WS lobby menus, which are perfect. And now we can go ahead and take the WG friend list and just put it into here. And I would just position it over here, give it maybe some offset of, I don't know, let's say just 50. And size to content, which will make sure that it's as large as it needs to be. Or actually, let's not do that, because it may overflow and we've got a scroll box. Let's just make it like so. Perfect. And as well, we can take the WG lobby, WG, however, player list. Yeah, the player list over here, and we can, I would say, put it over here. Oh no, let's just put it in the center and give it a Y offset of like, go over here. You could change that if you're not satisfied with how it looks, but that works like that. And over here we have copied that. That makes complete sense. That does not work, but we are not going to hook up the buttons yet. Let's just test if the friend list and the player list works. And to do that, we just have to start. And once it's started with Steam and I create a lobby, I should have the player widget and all my Steam friends over here. It's now not positioned that well, but I have all my Steam friends over here, and let's just choose someone I can annoy right now and just invite him, like him. And I'm in family mode. Give me 1 sec. Okay, now I'm online. Do I have my friend list now? I do. Perfect. So just invite him and go into his chat. Send message. Invited to Space War. It's today, 2:15 p.m. So that works. Perfect. And even my Steam profile picture is here, as you can see, and if someone else would be in the same lobby now, his profile picture would be displayed as well, which is awesome. So now we are going to take care of the close session and start game button. And to do that, we will be going into the lobby menu again and go into the code editor now, and pre-construct, we're just going to get game instance cast to GI and convert to pure, and now we're going to do it right away. Promote to variable, game instance, and just like that, construct. Do I have something else I will need in the construct script? I don't think so. And we can now... I'm doing it in event tick because in the lobby menu it does not really matter if you do UI checks in the event tick, because most likely you're not going to have that much other logic which would need the performance. And that's why I will be checking the widget switcher in the event tick, so every tick. And to do that, as said, it's the difference between the waiting for host and the start session button is just if you're the server or not. So luckily Unreal already has is server, which is pretty convenient. So we now can just do a branch, go into the event tick and go for the WS lobby menu switcher. We can just get that, and over here you can go set active widget. And if we are the server, we want the start session a vertical box and plug it into here. So that's the one which is active. Let's just clean it up a little bit. And if that's false, we can just copy it, paste, put it into here, delete the start session, because if it's false, we want the waiting for host widget, and like so. Nice, and we can test that right away by just starting the game in standalone mode again. And once it's started and we have created a lobby, it's now the starting widget switcher, which is the normal one, but we can just test if it works by switching these two out just for debug real quick. Do not leave it as that, because that would be not so good. And now if it's starting and we are creating a lobby, it should think that we are not the host, or just show the wrong widget actually, and it should say waiting for host. Yeah, it's saying waiting for host. So now we just can't start the session because only the host should be able to do that. Perfect. And now switch it back, because now we can be sure that it works. And if we want to, we can go ahead right away and create the start game button function. And fortunately we've got the game instance already, and we've got the start game function out of the last episode in here already, which is pretty convenient. And do we even have a leave game function in the game instance? Okay, so we will just try it. We will notice if it does not work. The button leave, just put it like that, and end session should have the same function actually. I don't know why we even created two buttons. Oh, what's that? Let's just copy that. Okay, so that's end session. That makes absolutely no sense. End session. And that's the start game button. And that's that. And that's basically all we need. One more thing you will have to do is go into the UI folder and then open up the UI actors, copy the main menu UI actor, rename it to lobby menu, and in the lobby menu blueprint, we're going to go into the widget over here and switch it out to the lobby menu, and draw a desired size would be a good idea as well. We can also switch in the main menu to draw a desired size. That just works better. Perfect. And then we will have to go into the main menu first, because the lobby widget will now look a little bit off. Scale it down a little bit, like so. That should work. Let's put it a little bit more down. Save, and then you will have to go into the lobby, because currently it's the wrong blueprint. So we can just delete it and go into UI, take the UI actors and take the lobby menu, turn it around, and yeah, I would scale it a little bit down as well, like so. Perfect. So now we've got the widget in the VR mode as well. Open up, create the lobby, and if I close the session, I'm back in the main menu, create another lobby. I should be back in the lobby menu, everything should load up. If I hit start game, I should be loaded into the actual map, and I do. Perfect. So that works, which is nice. So you now actually have a working lobby menu. You can also test with your friends, because as said, everything works through Steam. So what you now would have to do to test with your friends, you would have to send them a build. So you're just going over here, package the project, package it wherever you need it, and then you can send the package build to your friend. They have to open it, and you should be friends on Steam, obviously. Especially with the dev ID, it won't work without being friends. Yeah, but if you're friends, everything should work. Your friend should be displayed over here. You should be able to hit invite. He should be able to hit accept, and then he will be transferred into the lobby scene here as well. He will also be displayed here as well. He could then leave or just wait for the host. And if you're then hitting start game... Why is it not working? Ah, it is. Okay. If you're then hitting start game, you both will be transferred into the actual gameplay scene. So that's the Steam lobby menu completed. In the next episode, we will take care of an in-game menu, which you can trigger through pressing a button, and there you will have your in-game settings, the continue button to resume to the game, and also the leave button. So then after the next tutorial, we will finally have the complete, I mean, it's the bare minimum setup, but we will have the complete Steam lobby system. And that video will come out 1 week from now. As always, if you want to continue working, I heavily recommend to just redesign your main menu, your friend list item. As said, you could also display the profile picture and so on. So I would do that if I was you, if you are actually planning on releasing your game, because that here is only proof of concept and tutorial project, obviously. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to help you. If so, make sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe the channel to not miss the second tutorial. It would help me a lot. And I wish you a great day. Bye.